I don't think it would surprise anyone when I say that Phase 4 of the MCU has been really disappointing. From She-Hulk to Eternals, there's been a lot of letdowns over these past 2 years. But this week, Marvel dropped trailers for both the new Ant-Man movie and the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special, both films set in Phase 5. And with Phase 4 about to come to a close with Black Panther Wakanda Forever, I wanted to look into the future of Phase 5 and see if it truly can redeem the MCU and bring it back to the high standing that it used to have during Phase 3. Now, there's a lot coming out in Phase 5 that I'm really excited for. After watching the new Ant-Man and the Wasp trailer, it looks fantastic. I can't wait for it. I mean, seeing Kang the Conqueror, finally, after seeing He Who Remains at the end of Loki, I feel like Kang's been teased and there's been so much to set him up. I'm so glad we finally get to see Kang as a villain in the MCU here in this next Ant-Man and the Wasp movie. I know this may be a hot take, but I actually really enjoyed the Ant-Man films. They feel somewhat self-contained, yet they tie into the larger story of the Avengers and Civil War and all this stuff. And I feel like Peyton Reed and the rest of the team at Marvel is going to do the same thing with this film, and I'm really excited for it. Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special just looks like a fun time. I didn't realize it was going to be a special presentation, but that sells me on it even more. I trust anything James Gunn does, whether that's DC or Marvel, so I have no fears with this or Guardians Volume 3. The only concern I have with Guardians 3 is that maybe some of my favorite characters won't be returning, but I can get past that. In terms of story and content and what we're going to see on the screen, I'm not worried about anything James Gunn does. And then there's Secret Invasion, which looks fantastic. I'm really excited for it. The tone looks amazing. I've talked about it already. Thunderbolts looks really good. The actor for Zemo kind of teased that maybe he'll show up. I'm very interested to see where they go with Thunderbolts, especially since it was announced that they're going to recast Thunderbolt Ross and that Harrison Ford is going to play him, which I think is a great choice. New World Order, I have mixed feelings on. I don't know if I'm excited for it or not. Falcon and Winter Soldier felt really bland, and I wasn't a fan of it. The action scenes were okay. I felt like it could have been a special presentation. But there's also a lot in Phase 5 that I am nervous about. The Marvels, Agatha, Ironheart, Echo, Loki Season 2 all fall into that kind of nervous category. I wasn't a huge fan of Captain Marvel when it came out, but I do like Miss Marvel and Monica Rambeau as characters. So we'll see. I really hope the story's different from what I've heard, that they're gonna switch bodies throughout the story. What? I don't understand how that works. Maybe it's from the comics, I doubt it, but it seems very weird. I feel like whoever the villain is going to be in this movie is either gonna make or break it. With Loki Season 2, I am really nervous for Loki Season 2. I liked the first season, but it often felt like Loki was a side character in his own story. It was titled Loki, but it never felt like his show. I feel like they underpowered him and he was often a butt of a joke. I hope this season is more focused on him and Kang. Those should be the two main characters. Loki protagonist, Kang antagonist. And again, I'm not going to be upset with more Owen Wilson. Never. And I hope we get to see him on a jet ski at some point. Whenever the series is over, he better have been on a jet ski. Or Marvel, we're going to have some beef. We're going to have some problems. For the other shows I mentioned, I'm just not excited for them. I don't feel like we need any more info or background into any of these characters. They feel like side characters, and that's fine. They're good characters. But to flesh them out this much and to give us this much content, I feel is making people... I feel we're getting this superhero fatigue. And this isn't helping it, especially after the White Vision TV show announcement. And look, I'm fine with them telling stories that sometimes go away from the main storyline they're leading towards, or telling stories about characters we don't really know about. I feel like Werewolf by Night proved that we don't have to do that over a 6-episode series. I don't think TV, that style format, is necessarily where the MCU needs to go. I don't mind it, but it's never at its best in the TV format. And I think special presentations can help it bridge the gap into shorter content, but still delivering that good quality storytelling that we see majority of the time in the movies. Regardless of the project, I really think in order to save their reputation, Marvel really has to focus on the world building and building up to this big climax with Kang or whatever happens in Secret Wars. If they bring in the Beyonder, I don't know. I'm not going to get too into it, but these stories need to be impactful and they need to feel like they matter. And there's this weird line that they need to walk. They need to be self-contained enough to feel like their own thing, their own story, their own series, yet at the same time connect to the overall narrative leading into Secret Wars, leading into Kang Dynasty. And I feel like they've done this already with a couple films. I think Winter Soldier did this with the downfall of S.H.I.E.L.D., yet it felt very self-contained to a Captain America movie. I think Ant-Man and the Wasp did it. It was pretty much its own story until the very end. And what happened in the story, although we didn't see it immediately, filtered into Endgame. Like, there's ways to do it, and they've done it before, and they need to focus more on these stories feeding into the big event. I think what made the first 10 years of Marvel so special was that everything was leading up to Infinity War. Everything these characters had gone through was leading up to that point, even if it wasn't obvious. And I know we're so early into this kind of storyline that they're leading towards in Secret Wars, and that's in Phase 6. We are just about to end Phase 4. So there's a lot that we don't know that everything we've seen so far could be leading towards. I don't see a commonality between these films. It just feels like content is constantly being spitted out. I think one of the best ways, again, for them to do this is to focus less on shows and more special presentations in the future. I don't think they should just give up on the shows. Like, I think Loki is a great idea. Like, they've had good shows. WandaVision was a good show. Shouldn't have a season 2. But I feel like there's an ending point. And I feel like with shows in Marvel, it's going to be really short-lived. Like, I don't know if they can make a series except for What If that's more than 3 seasons. Phase 5 has a crap ton of potential, and I am really excited for the movies involved in this. I don't know when Blade's coming out. I still think Blade is Phase 5. I'm not sure. And then possibly Deadpool 3 is Phase 5. I'm not sure, though. I think that film may be the transition into Phase 6. But as we're leading up, as we're getting closer to Secret Wars, my excitement for the MCU grows greater. But Phase 4 was a huge letdown, and I think it was a reality check that this studio can do a ton wrong. But I think Phase 5 has a ton of potential, and I'm really excited for what it has in store. And I truly do believe that if they get this phase right, they can win a lot of people back to their side. Because I know a lot of people are hating on Marvel right now. I feel like Phase 5 could be the thing that saves it. But at the same time, if they mess this up, there are a lot of properties in here that if they mess it up, it's going to be hard to replicate the excitement of Infinity War or Endgame, which I think is what Marvel really wants to do. And I don't blame them. It was fantastic. That's it for me. Let me know down in the comment section below what y'all thought of the Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania trailer and the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special trailer. Let me know, what are your thoughts on Phase 5? Are you excited for it? Are you done with Marvel? Type it all down. Sorry if the audio is kind of echoey. I'm in a hotel room right now, so the setup's not ideal, but it gets the job done. Love you guys. Have an absolutely amazing day. And until the next time, peace out, bro skillets.